So we had a blind set there. He had a little feed bed up in there. Obviously he got tangled around that stick so he didn't expire. We'll take care of him real quick, and then got a set there, a blind set, and then what you got up here, Knickerbocker?
Had a little feed bed up there. I think that's what this set was, wasn't it?
I don't recall. I believe so. That was another 1.5.
Yeah.
Good, pretty good rat. Not too bad. And then just beyond up there in that pinch point, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a 160 in that pinch point up there. So 2 rats in this little spot. Had 4 traps. So cool. Get on down the line. All right. Jumped in another little section of the ditch here. We got a rat here last night. Looks like he actually piled some vegetation up there. We got that. So we got 4 sets in here. Got that one there, and then see if we got anything in this set. And I had a little blind set up in here. It was up in there. Setting up traps. Oh, we got one right here, Nick. Anything your way? So I think what we did is we rat hogged them. So we got them here so Nick couldn't get them down there, I think. But it's pretty cool, man. Just real shallow this year. It's normally a whole lot thicker. But you want to reset that one, Nick?
Double front foot.
Hey Nick, let's show people how we're using the bracket here once you get that set up.
Okay.
So all we're doing is, so this is the versatility that we like to use on our line, and this is why we love this bracket. Is so Nick's going to set the trap, but you'll see that the bracket itself, you know, it's a stabilizer. It's got a stake swivel in it, and it's got the drowner lock on it. But we essentially set it like it's a stabilizer, right? So we set it in that 3/8 inch hole, and we're just using the rod to stake a set, right? So simply just using that as a stake. And if you happen to get a coon, if you have that bracket on there like that, it generally just acts as a drag, and we'll have a coon if it happens to pull the rod anyways. But otherwise we're using them like this here.
Is that where you had it?
Yeah, but I had the jaws turned just a little bit and right up in that little pocket up in there. Yep, just like that. And so, you know, basically we got this long chain on here. It gives us versatility to be able to move that trap where we need it, get the stake where we need it, etc.
And add some weight as far as drowning.
Yeah, helps drown them. So it's more humane, blah, blah, blah. But when we have, you know, a situation like this where we can put the trap right there, we don't need to use the stabilizer, right? So it just becomes essentially a stake lock almost, right? And then if that was deeper right there, we could use it as the trap stabilizer and have it as a top edge set and still pull that same rat. But sometimes, and we've got some sets we can potentially show, but sometimes that can be so deep that the rats would swim over top of it without getting caught. And so that's where either a body grip comes in or you suspend the trap on a top edge. So that's really what we're doing. Just working our way down these little creek areas. We were supposed to be hut trapping out of kayaks, and this was plan B or C.
Somewhere down the alphabet.
Yep. So here we had same thing, just got the bracket sitting there. Not a bad rat. And so obviously, you know, they're feeding there. They had some feed pads down there. They're feeding in this entire area through here. So I just had this as a little blind set right up in here. If you can you see up in there, Nick?
I think so.
They're kind of tunneling up through there. You can see right here where they're coming on and off. And you could have put the trap there if you wanted. I just chose there for no other reason other than it felt better.
Obviously it worked.
It worked a little bit. So, but that's all we're doing. So on to the next ones. Right, Nick?
Right.
All right. Checking. Good. Oh, that ain't no snake tail.
Don't say snake.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry. There's that there. I think we had him right off of here. Some up in there.
What's that?
That's on a hole there that went up in.
Yeah. Oh, it was guarding that. There's two of them.
Oh, there's two holes. Okay. Gotcha. It cut through.
Yeah.
Okay. So we didn't have anything on the cut through, which that's a killer spot for mink. That'll be a good spot for mink tonight. It's dropping temperature, and the wind is dying down, but a front is coming through right now, so should be pretty solid.
Always clean the grass out of your swivels too, just in case you make the odd catch. It just helps down the road.
Yep. So he's setting that one up there, grabbing his rat. I think we had another 3, 4 to go through here. We had this crawl out here guarded. Nothing in that one. And then we had set up here. We had I think this up here was a bottom edge, and it looks like we've got a floater in a bottom edge, and then just beyond that we got a coon. That was in a blind set. So this bottom edge, I mean this right here, I'm gonna try to not muddy it up. Hold that, Nick, if you could, please. I want to try and show a bottom edge set. Look at that, right behind the noggin. So that debris was kind of holding that up. But what we got, I'll show you once I get this rat out of here. So using the 160 size, A bottom edge set to me and to most rat and mink trappers is a dynamite set. You can't overlook these. But if you can see in the water, I don't know if you can see if the camera picks it up or not, but if you look at this water, you'll almost see a faint trail, right? And then right down there is really gravelly, but the rest of everything is sandy, right? Up against this edge here, that's a solid edge, right? So if you picture this hand being the bottom of the surface and then this being this piece, right? What we're trying to do is get that trap right here in that corner, right? Every rat and mink that are swimming through here, they're hugging this, right? So this little bump out here is really your pinch point. It's going to funnel everything right through there. The rest of this other 3 feet, 4 feet of water surface, forget about it. This is the spot. And so all we're doing is we're trying to get the trap as tight as we possibly can to that edge and on the bottom. And what I like to do is I like to start the trap at a pretty severe, or the rod at a pretty severe angle as I start driving it, right? And I'll place my boot up against it. I'll bend it while I'm driving it in, right? So I got it about as far as it'll go. I'm holding this rod out, bending it as much as I can. And when I let go, see when I let go, it pins it. It pins it right up against that bottom structure there. Now when that water clears, what you should see is that trap right in the run pushed up against that edge. That is a bottom edge set. And to me, you can't overlook those. So those are dynamite. And here we got this raccoon that I had on a blind set up here for rats, and obviously he pulled the rod, right? So this is why this is very important that people see. You can use these rods essentially for raccoons, mink, so on and so forth. I don't target raccoon with the rods, but I'm confident that if I catch a raccoon, that bracket on there is going to lock on the rod and it ends up becoming a drag, right? So obviously he's kind of jacked up around this bottom structure here with the rod and whatnot. He's tangled up, but if he would have got up on the ditch or whatever, he'd be tangled right there in the shrubs, in the trees, so on and so forth. So we'll dispatch him and we'll get on down the line, but they do pull him from time to time, especially in this, you know, this area is real sandy, other areas are clay and mucky. The sandy stuff, make sure that, you know, you get it in there as far as you can, but also get that bracket up. You don't want it right on the very bottom. Get it up, you know, a foot or two, maybe 3 up that rod, so if it does pull it, it's going to lock, but it's going to act as a drag, right? So that's what we do, and obviously it worked. So see ya. All right, guys and gals, trappers. As a muskrat trapper, whatever, this is just, I mean, this is just fun. This is just absolute fun, right? We came down here yesterday, and there was this log, right? I want to show you something. There was this log. It's got a couple turds on it, to put it lightly. But I was trying to figure out where are they coming up onto this log. And if you look, this is all mossy, right? So I would have thought they were coming up like this, but that's all mossy, right? So what I did is I, first off, we caught one here. That's why it's kind of cool. Red belly. Nice looking rat. But what I did is I was going, how can I get a trap either here or back here, right? And with the current coming this way, I just kind of envisioned them swimming down and climbing up through here. So what I did is I'll reset this for tonight. What I did is I put the rod in, right? And then I took our bracket. And this is, to me as a rat tree, this is the funnest stuff. It's kind of like these little fun sets, you know, it's not all repetitive, okay? And then I took down just like that, and that was it. So I got their toilet. I've got this guarded where they're, I'm assuming, climbing on and off. So, I mean, it's really as simple as that. And we weren't really finding, you know, like those bang up areas. So I think personally it's a little bit early for baited sets. But I did put one here. And obviously it wasn't too early for this guy. So, there's a good rat there. That one's got a little weight to it. That's a good rat. But he was caught on a baited set. Got it all tangled up in here. So we got that guy. And I'll have to jump back in the truck, but I'll show you what we're doing. Because I'll have to go grab another carrot. But essentially, and I'm using, I don't like to use the mini carrot. I think they dry out too quick. And push that rod down. Get that rod into the ground as far as you can get it. Because you could pick up a coon or something along those lines. And then I'm putting a carrot right up about there. But what you'll notice is I'm not setting, this baited set's not out in the open, right? It's tucked up near cover, right? Because I think it helps the rats get comfortable to get out of the water and feed. So anyway, that, I mean, two sets, first little section of this this river. And so a fun set and a baited set. Again, these baited sets, they really do work, but the later in the season you go is when they really start to shine, or when the vegetation really starts dying off, rotting, that sort of thing. But you can pick them up, you know, throughout the season on them. But so obviously, so let me go grab a carrot, and I'll be right back. One second.
This is just he calls it a river, but I call it a creek. Where we're at home, the river's got a lot more size to it. And there is rat sign on it. It's like there where he caught that one. You can definitely see in the bottom the stuff's been messing around and digging at roots and whatnot. And there's so much coon sign on this ditch. We should have some more coons here today because we did make some coon specific sets. But, you know, just this area right here is holding a lot of fur. So if you've got places like this at home, it's definitely worth getting down the ditch, walking it, and see what you got. He's back with the carrot.
Like I said, I like to use full-size carrot. Generally, I bust them in half. I'll put a half or a third on there. I like the bigger ones. They still got the skin on them, so they don't dry up as fast as those little mini carrots do. The mini carrots are very convenient because they're in a bag, but you know, I like these larger carrots better.
Do you use lure on that type of set?
You can. I've used all kinds of different muskrat lures. Dunlap muskrat lure, Caven's bread and butter, some of Carmen's muskrat lure. You know, you name it, I've used it, and I do think it helps, but I also think because we're warm right now, the coons are out, you put that lure out there, it definitely carries further than what the scent of this carrot does. So you do have, you know, a chance of catching more raccoons. And we just got back from Iowa, and we don't really care about Michigan coons right now. So we're trying to avoid that to a degree, but on this set over here, I did put a little bit of lure on that log, but for the most part, I'm trying to avoid in this area trying to catch raccoons. So anyways.
Hopefully we got them in our sets we set for coons.
Exactly. We did put a few 220s out for that, so let's go check them bad boys. What's that?
Floater there.
Oh, you got floater down there? Oh yeah, so we had two sets here. You had a body grip and I had a foothold. And both of them were around that corner down there. Yep. This was another baited set. So I had a baited set here, and then you had a feed pad set up, I think. Yeah, right on this other side. Still set. I rat blocked him.
Yep.
That's not very hospitable.
Oh. Never even got it off the bracket.
So what we had is, you know, obviously his feed pad set, and then we put a baited set here, but in this, you know, in this river, we've had 4 sets now. We've got 3 rats, 2 unbaited sets. We had 2 baited sets and had 2 rats. Again, I think it's early yet.
One this morning too.
We had another one this morning on a pond on a baited set. We had 1 baited set out and 2 baited sets, had 1 of them in a baited set. So they are starting to hit the baited sets. Again, I think they hit them harder the later in the season, but you'll also notice that if you're paying attention, the bait was gone on the last 2. So there's potentially something coming in and picking them up after you caught the rats, is my guess anyways, but it's as simple as that. Move on down. That run didn't get hit. Had a blind set here with that toilet, didn't get hit. Oh, we got us a booner cooner. We got a raccoon here that again, here's another example. Not only a coon screwing up a great muskrat set, but you'll see the rod. So this is the fiberglass rod in the bracket. Watch this coon come charging me. The bracket is in there somewhere, right there. it's locked, and it simply just act like a drag with that rod holding that raccoon. So we'll take care of this guy, and we'll be back. Huh?
One of them throws, the other one shoved out.
Boy, that river got murky this last night. Woohoo! Trying to throw on my butt. Looks like a muskrat over here that we had in a awesome little blind set. We gotta reset this because it just looks too darn good. And that was a rat right there, and I had the trap right up in there. But huh?
There's something back?
Yeah, there's a coon back here. Yeah. Got a raccoon and a muskrat set. Here's a raccoon and a muskrat set. He's tucked up in that hole. But so I had put some lure on this, and you know, can't say that was the reason he came up to this spot, but more than likely. But obviously the rod is pulled out of the bottom. But it's all tangled up, acting as a drag, so not a big deal. But all right, we'll get this taken care of and reset. There's a chunky one. Mm-hmm. Nice chunky one. Alright, my raptor. So quite simply, you know, what I did here is that was set for a mink, but obviously that rat didn't get the memo, so we'll reset it back. But this, I don't know if you can see, but there's just this perfect little funneling back through here. And so I had just took the trap, ran it behind there, put it right there like that, and then I took a small twig. Didn't have to be a big one, in fact smaller the better. And this is just kind of a, I wouldn't call it a trick or anything like that. But what I'm going to do is, if the pan is here, I'm going to put this little twig on the downstream side of the pan. And the reason being is, let's say the current's flowing this way. Let's say that was my twig and it flows over my pan and somehow gets caught up or whatever. You're now basically telling the mink, don't step on my pan. So you put it on the downward side, and if any current or whatever jacks with it, it's at least out of, you know, it's not covering your trap. So really just like that right there. And now if you could look downward at it, what you'll see is the trap with the loose jaw is up against the wall there, and then you got this basically stepping stick or whatever you want to call it, but those mink will just bounce right through here. So, but again, this guy didn't get the memo. We got it covered. Well, just as we thought, it was kind of cool. What do you got? You got a double? All right.
Still breathing.
We got Action Jackson over there. This was just a follow-up to that baited set that we had one on yesterday and shown, and then the little trickery set, the log set, looks like it's got one. So super cool. I'll grab this one, and you want to grab that one, or we're just pulling these. So. Woo.
I bet the bog froze up last night.
Huh?
I bet the bog froze up last
That
night.
bog is definitely frozen. Yep. I think everything was frozen.
Wow.
That's a good rat.
Yeah.
Good rat.
Through the ice.
Top water ice. There, let me. And then yeah, so this was that baited set that we had. All right. Go through. Throw these guys in the truck. And we'll move on down the line. All right, so I just popped that trap. I didn't have nothing in it. It was covered in ice. Nick's got himself a nice rat. And that's a 5-inch RBG right there.
5-inch RBG. And it was set up on that feed bed up in there. A tunnel going through the grass. Just walk it with a body grip.
So you just had that set covering the entrance, the kind of like the curtain, if you will, the open curtain in the grass?
Yep.
Cool.
Quick and easy.
Don't get much easier. Cool. Down the line. Iced up. And nothing. That's how she goes. It was hard to get anything to fire in that one, wasn't it?
Well, they didn't come early, they weren't getting it.
That's it. We're only open between the hours of 6 and 9. Hey, look at there.
Right on that little slide.
This little slide right here. Trap was set underneath there. Obviously froze in. But
He came during the allotted hours.
yeah, he was within business hours. Looks like a pretty good rat.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
There we go.
Down the line.